Now, Rubio also confirmed this. All right, again, this narrative is really falling apart.
Yesterday, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran, and that's why we needed to get involved. Today, the president said that Iran was going to get.
Yeah, your statement is false. So that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked
okay.
you a question.
No, were you the one that? Because somebody asked me a question yesterday. Did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you asked me that. That follow up, and I said no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program.
Yeah.
That Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks.
Yeah.
That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation, not the question of the intent. Once the president made a decision that negotiations were not going to work, that they were playing us on the negotiations,
100%.
and that this was a threat that
it's
was
so
untenable,
obvious.
the decision...
It's actually so obvious, and it's insulting to my intelligence to watch people fumble around like this. It's like, and the funniest thing is, this is the craziest thing. Rubio is so like done with this garbage. Watch him. He has to explain everything like 47 times because the media keeps asking the same question in different ways. Why are we doing this war?
Congress. Our notification, listen, let me explain to you guys this in simple English.
Simple English. He's trying his best here.
Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics. They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons. They intend to develop those nuclear weapons behind a program of missiles and drones and terrorism that the world will not be able to touch them for fear of those things. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make those things so that they can never have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president made this decision. It was the right decision, and the world will be a safer place when these radical clerics no longer have access to these weapons. You see how they're using them now. Imagine how they would use them a year from now if they had more of these.
He's so right. And it's like, it's unbelievable watching these people try to jump over themselves trying to understand what's going on here. We are going to unleash Chang on these people. Rubio has been absolutely cooking. Now, unfortunately for Tucker Carlson, he's been having the worst week of his life.
The United States didn't make the decision here. Benjamin Netanyahu did.
So it was Netanyahu that forced America, according to Tucker Carlson.
Israel forced your hand to launch these strikes against Iran. Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand.
Yeah, it's a rough day for all these guys. Like, they're trying so hard to push the narrative, it's insane. The United States didn't make the decision to go to Iran, says the Tucker Carlson network. Directly calling the president and also Rubio and also Hegseth all liars, I guess. All right, Megyn Kelly's been doing this whole shtick as well. She's been falling down that path. And this is insane.
Look, there are massive divisions over what we've done here, and people are going to change their minds over the coming days and weeks, one way or the other. But my own feeling is no one should have to die for a foreign country.
But we're not doing this for a foreign country. This is unbelievable. It's like, yes, of course it's good for Israel that their neighbor who happens to be a terrorist regime is dying. Yes, it's also good for Qatar and good for the United Arab Emirates and it's good for Saudi Arabia and it's good for the people of Iran. But it's also and fundamentally being done for us. This is unbelievable, saying that they're dying for a foreign country. And it's honestly disrespectful. Megyn is a veteran. I kindly invite you to go directly to hell. Okay, that's extreme. Service members know full well what we're getting into when we sign up. It's not for you to determine who our sacrifice is for. You didn't serve. Your husband didn't. Neither will your snot-nosed kids. No one asked you to either. We have people who are volunteering to do it, and it's we who do that determine who our sacrifice is and is not for. Shut up. I hate that you become terrible, but that's what being on the payroll of America's enemies will do to a person. Now, I'm not making any allegations that she's on a payroll of enemies or anything, but it is insane. Everyone is calling her out for this. How dare you?
For one, Megyn Kelly's clip that we ran before saying who those troops died for. How dare you, Megyn Kelly? How dare you tell?
It's honestly insane. Like, when The View is actually kind of right, it's horrifying. It's horrifying, bro. Nick Fuentes has been doing this whole thing where he's saying, step one, he has to vote for the Democrats now because Trump betrayed America because they're killing terrorists that are trying to kill us.
So shameful. So disgusting. It's a war of choice. Iran does not threaten us.
Except they do, or they will, so we get rid of them before they can successfully threaten us.
Got no business there. This was a decision. And it was a decision made by another country for another country's benefit.
It's unbelievable. Everyone's doing this. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Everyone is like falling for this unbelievable leftoid psyop. It's crazy. It's insane. So this dude is saying he's going to vote for the Democrats and in the midterms and in 2028 because to punish the Republicans. But also he has said multiple times that if the Democrats win, he is leaving the United States.
Oh, people say that I'm like a Democrat or like I wanted Kamala to win. And it's like, you think I don't know that Trump is better than Kamala. Everyone knows that. But I love what you said about these like knock-on second-order effects, because you're 100% right. Biden winning and like Trump getting banned from YouTube and all that, that's probably why Elon bought Twitter. Like that maybe doesn't happen in a universe where Trump won the 2020 election and all the other downstream effects that took place. Trump being president now is sweeter than it would have been from 20 to 24. And you could have never predicted that, like you said, that Biden winning would force the pendulum to swing in the other direction. I think there was something true about, you know, Trump and Kamala in 24. If Kamala inherited the war in Gaza and the Ukraine war, would we get something insanely radical in 28, like a real reset? Maybe.
So he is actually pushing for Democrats to win because he wants the pendulum to swing all the way the other way. He wants to let in another 30 million illegal aliens into our country, all right, because he wants to radicalize the right wing into electing a Caesar or a Hitler.
You can never know. What I would say, though, about 28, and this is maybe new, is like when you look at what Trump is doing, he's creating a lot of tension right now. The ICE raids, the militarization of law enforcement, the war everywhere.
This is
in
wild.
Venezuela, Ukraine, Iran, the advance of AI and technology. It's like, if a Democrat wins in 29, I'm moving to another country.
So it's like, I'm going to vote for a Democrat because Trump is bad, but I'm also going to flee the country if a Democrat wins. It's unbelievable watching this. And everyone is pushing this same agenda.
I don't think we should be fighting wars on behalf of Israel.
It's not. It's not.
And many
no one
Americans
thinks it
agree with
is.
that.
No one should have to die for a foreign country.
Oh, my God.
I don't think those 4 service members died for the United States. I think they died for Iran or for Israel. And this feels very much, to me, like it is clearly Israel's war.
There are a bunch of people in the U.S. government who do not put the United States before the interests of Israel, period.
Okay. And then I want to get to you in this, but here's the truth, okay? Of course Israel has an interest in that. But many other parties have a vested interest here, including the United States, which is paramount. But all of the Iranian people around the world, when you see these, diaspora, pick a country, are they paid by the Jews? The G7 nations. It's a joint statement reaffirming that Iran can never have nukes. Other nations, and Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Iraq, and even Jordan.
You know, I'm not saying he wasn't a threat, but me being compared to him, I took offense to that.
I would too.
And one of the primary benefactors, you could say here, is definitely the United States. Iran has had a problem with the United States going back, I mean, as long as we can remember, but certainly starting 79, where they declared war, and they've redeclared war against the United States, killed thousands of service members in many of our bases with no intention to stop. So yes, Israel does. The myth here, the claim that is false, is that only the Jews would have an interest. Now, you may not say that these interests warrant the action, but to say that there aren't other interests outside of Israel is disingenuous.
And he is completely correct about this. Honestly, these people died. These people died for our country. They're heroes, and they should be remembered as heroes. For people that unfortunately lost their lives fighting for our country. God bless our troops, and I hope they stay safe. And watching people laugh at them because they quote-unquote died for Israel is insane. It's also not true, but it's insane. Like, it's shocking.
Dude, oh no. I mean, no.
You know, like, I don't know. I just find that stuff wild. You know, it really is.
Journalist Ryan Grimm wrote that Saudi Arabia will eventually be able to figure out where the missile came from that struck their oil field, because there were strikes on the oil field as well. And if it's confirmed it was Israel, that'll have regional implications for a generation. Now, some of you might be wondering, Israel, who's blaming this on Israel? Well, interestingly enough, today on Tucker Carlson's show, he made a pretty bold claim, and it had to do with the arrests of Mossad agents in other Arab countries. I want you to listen to what he has to say here, and then we'll discuss, the likelihood of this. Take a look.
Israel wanted to hurt these countries. That's the point. Wanted to hurt these countries. Wanted to sow chaos and disorder because they are rivals of Israel. So it's probably hasn't been reported, but it's a fact that last night, in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, authorities arrested Mossad agents planning on committing bombings in those countries. Now, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. Why would the Israelis be committing bombings in two Gulf countries, which are also being attacked by Iran?
True, crazy. I can't believe Israel would send Mossad agents to do false flag attacks in order to, except it's a lie. Except Qatar said it's a lie. Qatar says no information on Mossad cells at the moment launching terrorist attacks in Qatar and stuff. Qatar is calling Tucker Carlson a liar. Qatar spokesperson added there's no information on Mossad cells operating in the country. This comes after U.S. broadcaster Tucker Carlson claimed that Qatar and Saudi Arabia have arrested individuals linked to Mossad. In fact, it's such a lie that Qatar says it arrested 2 terror cells linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps in their own country. Iran has been conducting terror attacks in Qatar and in Saudi Arabia. And Tucker Carlson immediately said it was the Mossad actually that was doing it. And Qatar called him a liar. I personally very much trust, Donald Trump and Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth when all of them unanimously come together and say it's not Israel that forced our hand. It's us, if anything, that forced Israel's hand. Quite literally, we're dealing with a monstrous terrorist dictator regime. I'm trying to get you all the facts that I possibly can. I'm trying to be as open and honest with you as I can. I'm doing all the research, a lot of reading, very stressful stuff. But quite literally, I have to say, if you guys are in Iran gonna actually seriously try to continue this war, I suggest you don't have a giant assembly of 88 next leaders all in one little room because you're all gonna die very quickly.